Hello, everyone, and welcome to AQL Technologies webinar on Mastering Microsoft 365 Record Management with Microsoft Purview. My name is Steve Linker, and I'm an account manager with AQL Technologies. We're excited to have you here as we explore how to leverage Microsoft Purview for an effective record management and optimize your use of Microsoft 365. Joining us today, we have Aziz Qureshi, Senior Power Platform Consultant. He will guide you through the key aspects of record management with Microsoft Purview, sharing his extensive expertise to ensure you master the topic effectively. Before we get started, I'm going to tell you a little bit about AQL Technologies. AQL Technologies is a Microsoft Gold and ServiceNow Premier Partner. Our clients include federal, state, local governments, Fortune 1000s, and nonprofits as well. We have over 15 years of IT industry experience, successfully delivering over 100 projects and more than 100 satisfied clients and growing. Our team is over 200 expert developers, analysts, and project managers that have extensive experience in Microsoft Dynamics and Power Platform. We have also conducted over 500 trainings over the years. We are GSA Schedule 70 certified and SBA 8A certified as well. We are committed to collaborating closely with clients to understand their unique processes and challenges and delivering tailored solutions to meet their specific needs. I would also like to tell you a little bit about AQL's Microsoft offers on the App Store. We offer a Power Platform COE starter kit to enhance your Power Platform setup and an RPA invoice processing to automate your invoices. You can check out these offerings on the Microsoft App Store to see how they can enhance your operations and drive efficiency. Before we get started, I would like to run everyone through the webinar rules. So before we jump in, let's just take a quick look at these webinar rules. All attendees can ask their questions and raise concerns in the chat. If your question or concern isn't addressed by the end of the webinar, we will follow up with an answer within 2 business days. There's going to be 4 sets of polls, each with 3 questions. They're going to last 30 seconds each. If you could please take a moment to answer them, we would greatly appreciate it. We will also be sending out a feedback email after the webinar. If you could respond to that, we would greatly appreciate that as well. It will help us improve our content in the future. Now I'm going to hand things over to our Power Platform expert consultant, Aziz Qureshi. Aziz?
Thank you very much, Steve. So let's talk about the agenda. What is the agenda for this particular webinar? The webinar is designed to provide you with practical insights into accountable strategies to enhance your governance framework using Microsoft Purview. Whether you're looking to improve data protection, ensure compliance, or streamline data management processes, this session will equip you with the knowledge and tools needed to achieve your goals. Data lifecycle management is a critical aspect of data governance that ensures data is effectively managed from creation through to deletion, while maintaining compliance with regulatory requirements and organizational policies. Microsoft Purview, as a comprehensive data governance solution, provides robust tools for managing the data lifecycle within Microsoft 365. So let's talk about how lifecycle management can be managed using Microsoft Purview. So we are going to start off with the data discovery and classification. Data discovery and classification, which helps the organizations to effectively manage and protect their data. It starts out with data discovery, where automated tools within the Microsoft 365 ecosystem, behind the scenes, they scan all of your SharePoint, all of your OneDrive, your Exchange, your Teams, and they identify where data resides. So this gives organizations a clear understanding of their data landscape. So once we have discovered, data undergoes data classification. So you have a whole plethora of data within your Office 365. Now, all of that is the data discovery part. Now your data has been discovered. What we need to do is we need to classify them. And here Microsoft Purview uses both built-in and custom sensitive labels to classify data based on its sensitivity and importance. So Microsoft provides some built-in sensitive labels, but for as we know, the organization are every organization is unique. So they have their own sensitivity issues to be addressed, and there here we can customize the sensitivity and the importance. The first part of that is to actually label the data, which is simply called as data labeling. So Microsoft provides sensitivity labels that help classify and protect data according to its sensitivity. These labels can be applied manually by users or automatically using predefined rules. Additionally, retention labels specify how long data should be retained and what actions should be taken once the period ends, supporting compliance and data lifecycle management. So you can see how important Microsoft Review is and how it is helping you in actually being compliant within your organization. So now we have policy management aspect of it. There are retention policies which are crucial for managing the life cycle of data. These policies ensure that data is retained for a required period and disposed of correctly. It encompasses the entire mailboxes, all the sites or libraries, whatever you have underneath the Microsoft 365 umbrella. So this thing is complementing with data loss prevention policies, which help prevent sensitive information from being shared inappropriately across emails, documents, and other communication channels. The next part is data retention and disposal. So once you have created these labels, there have to be a time period for when you want these labels to act on. That is where you have the disposal aspect. How do you want to dispose this of? So when it comes to data, retention and disposal, retention actions define what happens to data at the end of its retention period, whether it should be retained for compliance or simply deleted. So before final deletion, disposition reviews can be conducted to verify that data disposal aligns with organization policies and regulations. And we are definitely going to look into some more detail regarding these. E-discovery and legal hold. For legal and compliance needs, e-discovery tools in Microsoft Purview allow for the search and retrieval of information needed for legal cases or investigations. Legal holds ensures that data relevant to these investigations are preserved and protected from altering or deletion throughout the legal process. Then you also have data governance and compliance management. So lastly, it is compliance manager, which helps organizations assess their compliance status, manage activities, and track progress against regulatory requirements. As regulations and organizational needs evolve, Microsoft Purview facilitates continuous policy updates, ensuring that policies and labels remain current. So Microsoft Purview offers a comprehensive suite of tools for managing the data lifecycle, ensuring that data is effectively discovered, classified, retained, protected, and disposed of in compliance with the organization policies and their requirements. So by leveraging these capabilities, folks, organizations can enhance their data governance, improve compliance, and ensure the integrity and security of their data throughout its life cycle. So we are going to discuss is that why companies use, record management. Companies are required to use record management for regulatory compliance. So for example, industries are bound by strict regulations, dictating how long certain documents must be accessible. So, for example, we have the HIPAA rule, which is the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act in healthcare. We have the GDPR, which is the General Data Protection Regulation, which is in Europe, and SOX, Sarbanes-Oxley Act in finance. So these are just not the best practices, but a legal requirement. And as an enterprise organization, everyone working within these regions are bound by these regulations. So these laws underscore the importance of safeguarding sensitive information and necessitate meticulous management to avoid legal repercussions. Second is that they are legal obligations. In lawsuits and audits, well-organized and easily retrievable records are instrumental in defending a company's interest. Records serve as pivotal evidence in legal disputes, making accurate maintenance imperative for constructing a robust legal defense. So you have a legal issue to there, but you have implemented all of the regulations. You have pretty strong evidence in your favor. The next is data privacy and security. The intricate landscape of data privacy laws demands rigorous record management to protect sensitive information and avoid breaches. The proper records management makes sure that personal and sensitive data is handled in compliance with the relevant laws, reducing the risk of data leaks and enhancing overall security. Operational efficiency. Effective records management improves operational efficiency by ensuring that critical documents are easily accessible when needed. This reduces time spent searching for information and allows for smoother business operations. So just imagine you know, a huge enterprise corporation. It has tons and tons of data scattered all over the place. So for operational efficiency, it is necessary that all of that data, all of those documents are organized and managed properly. And it helps in your business to run smoother. Risk management. Proper record management helps mitigate risks associated with data loss, non-compliance, and legal issues. It ensures that important records are preserved and protected against accidental or intentional destruction. Cost saving. So by systematically managing records, companies can reduce storage costs and avoid fines and penalties associated with non-compliance. Efficient records management also helps in optimizing resource use as only necessary records are retained. So let's talk about Microsoft Purview, which we have been waiting for so long. So right here, what you have is you have the Microsoft Purview, and it is a portal. It is a comprehensive data governance solution which is designed to help organizations to manage, discover, and protect their data across various platforms. The Microsoft Purview portal serves as a central hub for these capabilities. It is designed to support organizations in managing, protecting, and leveraging their data effectively through a centralized and intuitive platform. So let's take an overview of the Microsoft Purview portal. So for that, to do that, I am going to share my screen, which is going to take you to the portal that we are going to be discussing. So here we are. We see here, this is our screen right here. You can see that from starting onwards, I have logged into office.com. So from here, what I'm going to do is that I can either click on the left navigation onto the admin, which is going to open up the admin center, or I have the option of going on to the hamburger menu. And from here, I can click on the admin. So what this is going to do is this is going to open up the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Here we go, a Microsoft 365 Admin Center. And once we click on Show All, right underneath the Show All, we have Admin Centers. So from here in the Admin Center, the one that we are interested in is the Compliance. So let's click on Compliance. Okay, so here we have this is the compliance homepage. It is called the Microsoft Review Compliance Portal. This is just the homepage, giving some information about it. The one that we are interested in, it is the Compliance Manager. For the Compliance Manager, what it does is that it gives you a score. It tells you how much your Microsoft 365 tenant is compliant. What is the score of it? That's a nice little feature right here, which kind of sticks out. We also have all the information that give you the key improvement actions. So there are 853 in this example that are not completed. 16 of them have been completed. So here you have a nice little breakdown of your key improvement actions that you should be taking care of. On the right-hand side, we have solutions that affect your score. So you can take a look at all of these solutions, and then you can make sure and make changes accordingly to make sure you have a better score for that. So this is the compliance manager. We have data classification. We mentioned about data classification, so let's take an overview of that. So here we have all of your data, like I mentioned, right at your fingertips. It mentions, sensitive information, trainable classifiers, and all the data within your tenant. It has basically taken a note of the data that we all have. These are classifiers. We are going to go into a lot more detail about the classifiers, so I'm going to skip up that for now. And then we have these are the policies, and we have roles and scopes. We have AI Hub, which is in preview mode, of course. Down here, we have solutions. So in the solutions, we can look on the audit solution. This is basically the auditing. You can basically audit within the time frame and the activities and the users as well. And this is going to give you everything that, within your tenant for that particular period. You have content search. You can search the content based on the tags, based on the labels that you have we have created. We have communication compliance. We have data loss prevention. We can create definitely, policies as well from here. And this is going to give you a nice overview of your DLP policies. We have e-discovery, which is standard, and one is premium. And then we have data lifecycle management, and then we have information protection, which can, if you take an overview of your information protection, it is going to give you a nice activity labels and everything else. It's going to tell you, what kind of labels there are, what label policies are, a kind of a, bird's eye view of all of that. We have information barriers, we have insider risk management, and then we have records management. And this is the records management is the one that we are really interested in today. So it's from the records management itself that we are going to be creating labels and of course, applying those labels and creating policies and so on and so forth. And we will definitely take a deep, deep dive into that as well. As you can see on the top menu right here, you have an overview, which is pending disposition. So if you have records that have reached a certain retention, period, and they are just pending to be disposed, you'll have all of this information right here. You have label application activities, all the labels that are being manually applied or automatically applied. And this gives you basically an overview of what that is happening within your records management. The file plan. This is one of the most important menus up in here. This is the file plan. All you see right here is everything, all of the labels. And all of these labels have been created, are customly created and also by Microsoft itself. And we are going to go into more detail how we are going to create the label. We can import the labels by an Excel file. We can in fact export all of these labels to an Excel file, and it is very convenient if you want to switch between tenants and and you would like to duplicate it. We got label policies. So as you can see right here, there is no button for creating a label policy. Why is that the case? That is because when we are going to create, when we are publishing a label, then only we create label policies. And we will go into that as well. So right here, you can see all the label policies that have been created. We got adaptive scopes. Adaptive scopes are nothing but just the scopes within there. We don't have any adaptive scopes at the moment. We got policy lookup. In the policy lookup, you would like, if you would want to know what the policy is, you got three options here. A policy that is attached to a particular user, and obviously we are going to provide the exact email address. Then we have the site, which is going to be a SharePoint site. What are the policies attached to that particular SharePoint site? And then we have a Microsoft 365 group as well. So basically what you can do is that if you go and click on site, you can enter the URL of your SharePoint site, click on search, and all of the policy lookups are going to be shown here. We have events. Events are basically when an event happens, then we can trigger the retention policy. So once we are creating retention policy, if we create any events happening, that's where all of those events are going to be shown here. Disposition is just all of the documents that we are already have passed their retention period and are waiting to be disposed or are just pending for disposition. Like we right here, it says here pending disposition. This is also pending disposition. These are records they have been disposed. So this is your information about which records are pending dispositions and how we can reach about that. So this is the information about the records management. So let's do deep dive into record management. For that, what we are going to do is that I am going to show you how we are going to create a label and apply those policies that we were talking about. So allow me to show my screen right here so that you can take a look at that. All right, so let's start off with the file plan. That's the file plan that we are going to starting it off from. These are all the labels that have already been created. So let's create a new one. I'm going to create a new label. I'm going to give it a friendly name. Let's see, what should I give it? Let's say human resource info. Here. So I mean, obviously, employee info is a very sensitive, label, and it's just a sensitive label, and we don't want everyone to know everyone others' information. So that's we can say that human resource employee info. We have description for users that the users are going to be looking at. This is just description for the admins. I'm going to leave both of them blank at the moment. I'm going to click on next. I'm going to give a reference ID. This reference ID is obviously, text. And if there is a reference ID which is attached to that or has been created for it, can, assign it here. Or in this case, I'm just going to simply leave it blank. Business or functional data. This is the metadata that we are going to provide for that label. I'm going to click on choose and I'm going to say human resources. I'm going to choose on that. So I have human resources. What is the category for that? So it is human resources. What is the category for that? So let me see, what should I give it the category for it? How about administration? There you go. That is a category that I can do. And I can obviously create any other categories that I please. I'm going to click on choose. I have a subcategory. I don't have any subcategories here, so obviously I'm not going to choose any, but if I had, I can obviously create a subcategory as well. Authority type, what type of an authority it is. I'm going to say it is basically a regulatory, and we can create other authority types as well. So here we have a metadata and we can provide the provision and citation as well if we choose. I'm going to click on next. Now here we say that retain items forever or for a specific period. So when the items reach a certain point of that, it just simply decides that it is going to be deleted. Okay. The next option is that enforce action after a specific period. So after a specific period has passed, what action do we want to take for it? That's what this is all about. Or the third option is that just label the item. So we just want to tag it. We have a document and we just want to tag it. So that's what the label is there for. So if we choose this one or either of one of these two, what we are going to get is we're going to define the retention period page. By default, it is for 7 years. We can obviously choose drop down forever or any of these options, or we can create a custom one that we need to. So here, for this purposes, I am going to simply say that retain this for 1 day. Start the retention period based on what? What do you want to start the retention period? Should it be when items were created? Could it be when items were last modified? When items were labeled? Should this retention start then? Employee activity, again, the event type that we have talked about, we can do that. Expiration or termination of contracts and agreements, which is again an event type, or we can just simply choose the product lifetime. So for this example, I'm going to just simply choose when items were created. And here we can create a new event type as well. We're going to click on next. So right here is that choose what happens during the retention period. So what's going to happen? So it's going to say we have an option here that says retain items even if users delete it. So right, say that we have a library in here. We have selected retain items even if users delete it. And once the user modifies that particular document, or the user deletes that particular document within the library, what happens is that the document is moved into a hidden library, and the library is called history library. It is and the library is where, or it's called preservation hold library, which is a hidden library, and only the site admins has access to that particular library. And I will show that particular library in the end as well. So here we have retention labels used. We have mark items as a record. So when the this choice is selected, that particular document then becomes read only, and nobody can edit that. It is a record now. Or we can have mark items as a regulatory record. So for this purpose, I'm going to say retain items even if users delete it. I'm going to click on next. Choose what happens after the retention period. So once the retention period has passed, what do you want to do? Do you want to delete items automatically? Or you want to start a disposition review? You want to change the label? You want to run a Power Automate, a flow? Or you want to deactivate the retention settings completely? So again, with this option, delete items automatically, and then they are moved into the hidden library I was just talking about. Here we have start a disposition review. Let's explore this. So we have start a disposition review. Here we can click on the plus sign, and here we can create the stages of that particular disposition review. I can add a stage, so I can say that, let's say this is stage 1. I can choose whatever stage is meaningful for me. But for this demo, I'll just simply name it stage 1. And here I can choose the person that was going to do the review for this particular document that has this particular label attached to it. And we can add other stages with other reviewers as well. So this is some pretty powerful stuff that we have here. See, for this purpose only, what I'm going to do is that I am going to select delete items automatically. And like I mentioned, we can change the label as well. But for this purpose, I'm going to just simply say delete items automatically. I'm going to click on next. This is the metadata that I see right here. I can obviously edit everything I need to do from here. So if there is something that I have mistyped or I like to change my mind, I can edit it from here. And I'm going to click, I'm going to say create label. Now this is going to create the label for me. Once the label is created, it is going to give you an option to publish the label or to do nothing at all. And it is going to take a little time for it to, create the label. So here we are. So it says here that your retention label has been created. Publish this label to a Microsoft 365 location, so we can have the location where it's going to be published, or to apply this label to a specific type of content, and we are going to look into that some more detail, or do nothing. For this purpose, for this demonstration, I'm going to say do nothing at the moment. Now I'm done. So here we have created the label. So let me see where my label is. Takes a little while to go through. We have a lot of, and here we have HR employee info. The next step we are going to do is label policies. So let's click on label policies. Here you see there is no plus sign for creating a label policy. The reason is that once we publish a label, then we, create label policies and, attach it to them. So let's say that I am going to publish the label. Let's do that. Here it's going to say choose labels to publish. I'm going to select my just recently created label. Here we have, this is the label that I want to publish. I'm going to say add, and it also shows you the retention period for that particular label. I'm going to click on next. Admin units. Admin units will tell you if there are specific admins within your organization or groups of admins. You can, choose those admins. The default is, full directory, and I'm going to leave full directory for now. This is the scope of that. Is you have two options for the scope. One is adaptive and one is static. So the static scope and the adaptive scope. Scope is that what is the scope of this particular label policy to create? What is the level of that? So let's click on static for the moment. And here we have, it specifies the default is all locations include content in Exchange, email, Office 365 groups, OneDrive, and SharePoint documents. So everything underneath the sun, everything underneath the Microsoft 365 tenant you have, apply the scope is through all of them. Or I can choose the second option. And from here, what I can do is that I can select or unselect the ones that I don't want. For example, Exchange mailboxes. No, I don't want that. For this demonstration, OneDrive accounts. No, I don't need that. Microsoft 365 group mailboxes. No, I don't need that. I need everything that has to do with SharePoint. From here, I can even select all these sites that are within your SharePoint, and I can select them. And obviously, I can also exclude any of the sites that I do not want I want them to be included in there. I'm going to click on next and I'm going to say, okay, fine, I'll name your label policy. I'm going to give it the same name uh, as my label. See, I'm going to give it a little bit of a description, but I'm going to leave it blank. I'm going to click on the next. And this is the metadata that is there. It tells you exactly, keep it for 1 day. SharePoint Classic Communication, that is your scope. That is the name and that is the description. And I am going to say submit. So now what happens is that once we are submitting meaning we are going to be publishing it, it takes a little while. It takes about 24 hours, but normally it it gets published within 2 to 4 hours. So this is how we are going to publish the, okay, here we go. So this is now this label has been published. I'm going to click on done. So here we have our label. We have attached the label policy. We have talked about disposition. We are going to look into more about disposition a little bit, but just to keep the flow of that, how am I going to apply this label? Okay, fine, I have created that, Mr. Aziz. How do I apply that? So let's go to the SharePoint library. So here we have a document library right here. We are going to, so if we have a document library, we are going to create. So let's actually do one thing. Let's actually, create a new document library. Site confidence. Go in here. It's going to give me a list of all my document libraries, and I'm going to go on employee info. So which is right here. I am going to select. So in order for me to attach the label, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this eye icon, which is open the details pane. So once I have the details for that particular, I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to go on the details pane. Here I have the details for that particular document, tells me what the name is, and here it says apply label. So here I can, there will be an icon here where I can click on that, a list will open up, and it is going to show me all the labels that I can definitely apply to that particular document. So this is how I'm going to apply the, document, the label to that particular document. Let's talk about, so now it is, we will talk about how to apply a label a little bit. So that topic is basically about retention label versus retention policies. So there is a lot of confusion between what is a retention label versus retention policies and how do they differ. Retention labels, basically the scope of the retention label, it is item level, which means just documents, just emails, individual items, so on and so forth. So that is one big difference, the scope. The scope of the retention policies, however, it is location level. So sites, mailboxes, themes, channels. So that is the big difference between the two as far as scope is concerned. The next, as far as the application is concerned, the retention labels can be applied manually or automatically. Okay, so we have an option for that. While the retention policies are applied automatically across specified locations. So we have big, huge differences where retention policies are applied automatically to a specified location, like I mentioned before. While in retention labels, you can manually do it or you can automatically apply them. The next important thing is granularity. Retention labels provide more granular control over individual items, while retention policies, they are broad control over multiple locations. Flexibility in retention labels, they allows event-based retention, disposition reviews, etc. While retention policies, simpler setup for uniform application across the data. So when do we use retention labels and when do we use retention policies? Retention labels are ideal for specific items needing unique retention rules, while retention policies are ideal for applying consistent retention across large volumes of data. So the retention labels and retention policies are both used to manage content retention in Microsoft 365. So by combining both, retention labels and retention policies, organizations can create a comprehensive data governance strategy that ensures compliance, protects sensitive information, and manages data effectively throughout its life cycle. The next one that I am going to talk about is trainable classifiers. So what are these trainable classifiers, and what do we mean by trainable classifiers? So categorizing the labeling content so it can be protected and handled properly in the starting place or the information protection discipline. Okay. So Microsoft Purview has three ways to classify content. One is manually using automated pattern matching and using classifiers. We will be checking the trainable classifier. So under the data classification, click on the classifiers. So let me show you the screen right now to show you where we can take a look at the data classifiers. So if you go right here, so this is my Microsoft Records Management. So if we go into data loss prevention and I'm sorry. If you go to data classification and go to classifiers, this is we have trainable classifiers, we have sensitive info types, we have EDM classifiers, which means exact data match. We can look at exact data matches within our content. All of these, what you see right here, are provided by Microsoft, and they cannot be modified in any shape or form, but we can definitely or we can definitely use them. So let's create classifier and see how we can apply it. So let's go to create trainable classifier. We're going to click on that. We are going to give it a name. I'm going to say this as HR as a previous example, employee info data classifier. I always give the same name that I need to do it, and I also specify what it is, so it just helps in knowing which is which. I'm going to give it a little bit of description, what it does. I'm going to click on next. Here, what we are going to do is provide the seed for the classifier. So this is basically a self-learning loop where we can home in on exactly what we are looking for. How we are going to do this is that we are going to provide the seed, and how do we do that? I'm going to choose the sites that I am interested in. So for this example, I'm going to go to this site right here. I'm going to click on add. I'm going to select the folders. So the best practice to do that is to actually create folders within your document library for the purpose of creating data classifiers. So or even if you have a folder which have documents that you would like to use, you can use that as well. But use that folder where you have these documents, and you can use that folder for your seed where the trainable classifier is going to go through all of those documents and is going to pick out the words that or and create a data classification for those words, and then you can refine it even further. So the next one we are going to do is that we are going to choose another site that is going to emphasize what not to look at. So this is like a negative from the previous one that we have done. I'm going to choose the same. I'm going to click on add. I'm going to choose the folder, but this time I'm going to choose the 1084 folder. So we have planted the seed for that, and this is not etched in stone. We can keep completely doing the loop so that it homes in on exactly what this classifier is supposed to pick up. I'm going to click on next. I'm going to review whatever that is, and I am going to create the trainable classifier. So this is going to take some time because it has to go through all of those documents. It has to pick up all of those keywords. and then it has to create, a data of, what are the words that are being used. And if we are satisfied with that, that's fine. If not, we are going to send it back within the loop so that it can home in on exactly what we are looking for. So if you go down here and if you see there are trainings, so these are not done yet. These are not done yet. It's going to give you in progress. My employee onboarding failed due to data collection. I'm going to take a look into that. Why that happened. But you're going to see something like in progress. It is still doing what it is supposed to be doing. So this is how you're going to create the data classifiers. Let's see how we are going to use these data classifiers. So let's go back to the records management, and let's go to label policies. You can see here it says here auto apply a label. I'm going to click on the auto apply label. I'm going to give it a name. Let's get started. So let's say the auto apply label is again HR employee info. Give it a description. I'm going to click on that, on next. So choose the type of content you want to apply this label to. Apply label to content that contains sensitive information. And we have all of these information right here, contains specific words or phrases, matches a trainable classifier. This is what we are interested in. We click on that, which is matches a trainable classifier. I'm going to click on next. And here we have the trainable classifier. So if we have trained a classifier created that, we can just simply choose the one that we are looking for. So let's say we just created a trainable classifier, but it's still training in the process. So we are simply going to choose one of these loan and agreements and offer letters. Very good. That sounds like a good one. We are going to click on next. Again, this is the admin units. Again, this is adaptive or static scope. We have gone through that before. Can click on again. We are going to choose what we need, what we don't need. We are going to then choose the label, choose a label to auto apply. This is the fun part. We are going to choose the label that we are going to auto apply to that. We have created a label. Okay, auto apply this particular label, please. So this is going to auto apply that. It's going to ask me what is the mode. We're going to just simply say turn on the policy, and then we are going to say finish. So here we have used a trainable classifier that was created to auto apply to a document. So when a document has been put into the library, Microsoft 365 looks into the document library. It finds a document with that particular classifier information in that document, and it just simply applies the label. So pretty powerful stuff. So this is how we are going to create a classifiable, or we are going to create trainable classifiers, and this is how we are going to apply to the labels. What you are going to do is that you are going to follow these guidelines. If if this session was helpful and informative and helpful and in understanding how to leverage Microsoft tools for record management, please stay tuned for our next webinar. And what you can do is that you can contact our most handsome employee, um, uh, Steve Linker. You have all of his information. You have his email address. He's every time I see him, he gets more and more handsome, but he, never shares his secret with me. Uh, but anyway, you have his phone number. You have his email address. Please do contact him. And thank you very much for your time. And happy Microsoft 365 development. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.